Hey everybody, it's me, Roy the Movie Guy, and I got another great podcast for you. With me, as always, is Joe B. But of course, Joe B is a little under the weather, and he wasn't able to make this podcast. So well wishes to you, Joe B. Hopefully you're back for the next podcast. So before we get into Ready Player One, we're going to talk about the movies at the box office and how they did. So we had the new movies that came out was Pacific Rim Uprising, Sherlock Gnomes, Paul, Apostle of Christ, Midnight Sun, Unsane, and we have Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs was in limited release, doing $1.5 million in 27 theaters. Not bad. Unsane, the movie directed by Steven Soderbergh that was using an iPhone 7 Plus to shoot the entire movie. $3.8 million, coming in at number 11. Midnight Sun, that's the Bella Thorne movie with Patrick Schwarzenegger, Arnold's son, did $4.1 million. That was number 10. And then, of course, Paul, Apostle of Christ, did $5 million. That was number 8. And, of course, Sherlock Gnomes with $10 million being number 4. Pacific Rim Uprising, number 1 with $28 million at the box office, beating Black Panther, defeating his 5-week streak for him to come in at number 2 with another $16.6 million. I think now his total is about $630 million, which is now the highest grossing superhero movie domestically of all time, topping The Avengers. That is very impressive for this character's debut to do that kind of money. And I don't see it stopping there because I can see it taking in another $10, $12 million next week, further pushing it towards the $700 or maybe let's say the $650 million range. That'd be great if it tackles over $700 million by the end of its domestic run, which it could very well do. Now, getting into Ready Player One, the Steven Spielberg directed movie. I'm excited for this. I think of Ready Player One as it could potentially be this generation's favorite Steven Spielberg movie. And I say that because when I was a kid growing up, my Steven Spielberg favorite movie was Jurassic Park. That movie came out in 1993. I think I was 11 years old. That was, for me, I look at it as my generation's favorite Steven Spielberg movie. And I'm sure there's other people's favorites are like Jaws. When Jaws came out, when you had Hook. Hook could have been a very good one. You know, that was also came out around the time, I think, right before Jurassic Park. And then you also have E.T. E.T. is another generational movie that a lot of people feel is their favorite Steven Spielberg movie. But for me, for this new millennia, for this new decade that we're about to conclude here in a couple of years, any kid that's their range of age from, like, I want to say 5 to 15 years of age could say that this movie right here, Ready Player One, is their favorite Steven Spielberg movie because of the generation of the movies that he did. I'm certainly not going to say that Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is going to be one of them. But also the last, actually, you know what? Let me take that back. Instead of Jurassic Park, let me say Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. That's actually my favorite Steven Spielberg movie because I've seen it so many times, just like Jurassic Park, but there's just something about it. I loved the Last Crusade. That's my favorite of all the Indiana Joneses was the Last Crusade. Now, let's get into this one that I expect to be for this generation's Steven Spielberg movie. Plus, it'll show you how Steven Spielberg is the man of directing these kind of movies. So, and he's never lost his touch. He's always stayed with the times, with the projects that he chooses. This movie, Ready Player One, based on Ernest Cline's bestseller of the same name, of course, which is a worldwide bestseller. The film is set in 2045. And everybody goes inside this virtual reality world called the Oasis to escape and, to be themselves. Well, the guy who created the Oasis has suddenly died. And, of course, he says that he has put an Easter egg somewhere in the Oasis. And if you find it, you get control of the Oasis and all this money, like $1 trillion or however much it was. I can't remember the exact amount. You got all these people trying to find this Easter egg. And apparently this kid, played by Ty Sheridan, which I find hilarious, that the actor that they got to play the lead is wearing, he's wearing those like the virtual reality goggles. The funny thing is he played Cyclops, the new Cyclops in the last X-Men, the X-Men Apocalypse movie, which I found funny because he's wearing like a visor in that. So it's almost like my next big role, I'm going to be wearing visors again. Probably not for majority of the movie, but it's just kind of funny that he puts that on, and he played Cyclops where he had to wear a visor through the whole movie, And then he also has the new X-Men Dark Phoenix coming up where he's going to reprise the role of Cyclops, so back to another role wearing something over his eyes. Maybe he'll get a role. I'm sure he's had roles before where he's not wearing that, but I just find it funny that his big franchise movies, he's always wearing something over his eyes. I just find that kind of funny. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think I'm weird, but I think that's pretty funny. Anyway, so he plays the lead character in the movie. You got your Ben Mendelsohn as the bad guy of the movie, which of course you remember him from, Rogue One, being the bad guy there. I just got to say that there's so much going on in this movie, and the one aspect of the movie that I find so awesome, especially with the marketing, is they play the Willy Wonka, the song from Willy Wonka, the imagination. Oh, I just love that theme. It's just it kind of gave me goosebumps when I heard the theme, and when he goes into the Oasis and you see all the characters that for me, I was born in the 80s, so to see all these characters that I grew up watching as a kid intermingling with each other is just so incredible. It's so awesome to see, and I can't wait to see it on the big screen. I already got my tickets for it. I hope I'm able to catch a screener of it before, but even if I do see a screener, I'm going to watch this movie more than once, just so I can catch things I didn't see before, because I'm pretty sure that you're going to need to see this movie at least more than once, so you can catch little Easter eggs here and there. Not the funny part is I'm saying Easter egg, and that guy has said he put an Easter egg in the thing for people to find. This key to unlock, and then you'll have control. So obviously everybody's trying to have control of the Oasis because that's everything. That's pretty much all I got, guys, for Ready Player One. I'm so excited to see this movie. I hope you're excited to see it too. Let me know in the comments below if this is something that you've been hoping that they would make into a movie. Is there a character that you hope they have in the movie? And I will say this before I sign off. The coolest thing that I saw in that trailer that I liked is when you see all the kids running down the street, and then you see the Halo characters with the guns and stuff. I thought it was so cool. The only thing that makes you worried is how are they able to not run into stuff doing that? You know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. So maybe they have it lined up where they're not running into anything. That's going to be an interesting thing to show me how they're able to do that without running into stuff. That'll be kind of cool. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. Maybe you can also tell me in the comments your favorite moments that you saw from the trailer and what characters you would like to see in the movie pop up, even if it's just for a brief moment. As for me, I am Roy the Movie Guy. With me, as always, is Joe B. Hopefully he will be back with us after feeling a little bit better on the next podcast. Stay chill, stay awesome, guys.